Hi.
Hi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, please tell us who you are and what is your name and how did you made it here?
My name is Katrina from Shenzhen of China.
Oh, from
So
Shenzhen.
I know the Hare Krishna from my friends.
Uh-huh.
So I'm interested in that she's the knife. So I come to Hare Krishna Center in Shenzhen. So I decided to go to the Hare Krishna in Chiang Mai
Very good.
this time.
So you start visiting devotees in Shenzhen, China,
Yeah.
and now you're coming to Chiang Mai. And Shenzhen is a very beautiful, very modern Chinese, special Chinese city, one of the most amazing places in China, which is very close to Hong Kong, and it has almost Western style, very free-thinking people, very business-oriented. So what make you interesting in Hare Krishna, being in such a special place? Why you're searching towards spiritual development?
Because of in Shenzhen, I work in Shenzhen, so I feel that the Shenzhen is a very busy life in that city, and all the people busy to the work.
Mm-hmm.
No time to thinking who you are, where you are, and what's the object in one's life.
Yes.
So I contact the Hare Krishna. Just I'm very interested in that it give you more and more thinking about who you are, where you are, and found myself in my life.
Well, it's very interesting what you've said, because in China is famous for famous thinkers like Confucius. Many other great philosophers previously in China dedicate themselves to understand what they are, what is the world they're living in. So China is famous for thinkers.
Yeah.
But people now in China have no time to think.
Just think is another thing. The common thing all people to think about how to improve my life. It is how to say, it is the money. Think about more than money. So Hare Krishna think about spirit.
Yes.
So it's others think, the different thing.
Well, see, money is a very important part of our life because it's kind of the energy we have. But the energy is always meant to be spent for different purposes. So in Krishna consciousness, it's an opposite way. Most people, they eat
Yeah.
to live,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But some people live to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's always the reverse idea. So you need the money
Yeah.
to lead you to your goals. But what's your goals and objectives, people don't know. Because they want to experience happiness. So what you've said is very important. Most people associate their happiness with money.
Yes,
Or
most of people.
quantity of things you can acquire. But still, when we're going to understand what is happiness, like what I understood about Chinese system, it's mainly the family, the relationship with people. And I was very amazed when I went to China and I saw they have very big round table and there's another table that's spinning. So I understood that Chinese people like to sit by the table and eat together. enjoy as a family. So do you understand? It's all you're still ending up earning something to sharing with someone. Do you understand? Even rich people who's always thinking about money, they're very much time very unhappy people because they cannot share. They're afraid of others.
Yes.
They're afraid to be exploited.
Yes.
And when you go to like very poor people, they very happily eating simple food, talking. You know, they feel happiness is inside, not outside.
Yeah.
So when you met with devotees, how you feel they have something inside? Hare Krishna people have something inside?
Many people think the happy, or bought the happiness from the other thing or other people, make the happiness to me. But Hare Krishna make the happiness in myself from the one's heart. So from my heart, feel the happiness, not make the happiness from the other people or other thing, like eating, make the happiness. So you feel the happy.
Yes.
I think in fact of the happiness in my think, you are do the anything in myself or in oneself, it makes happy. So that's real the happy.
Very good. So you're a very deep thinker. You're coming with very deep realization. You have to understand that happiness is totally internal feeling, and it can be generated by exchange of, relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you one interesting thing. I'm not sure that you know so much things about Krishna, because Krishna is God. And to know everything about God is impossible. But one thing you should see, that Krishna lived very simple life in a village called Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Very simple life.
Yeah.
He's not living as a god. He's living like one of his friends. And he always liked to play with cows. He liked to play with his friends, the ladies, the boys, the flower, the nature.
Yeah.
Krishna is very attracted to very simple, and he played flute.
Yeah.
In China, flute is a very famous instrument. You like flute music? Chinese flute?
Anita, I like the popular music.
So, China is very much connected with India on historical and spiritual background. Have you try to wear the sari or Hare Krishna dress? Have you tried?
If I have the chance, I would like to try.
What do you think about sari?
Sorry?
Sari, that dress.
Dress? I don't
Would you like
dress
to try?
like this.
You like to try dress like sari?
Okay.
Like Bhakti Lalita has a sari, Nalina has a sari.
I think this cloth is very beautiful and special.
Yeah, and do you know why it's special?
Yes.
Because it's only one piece of clothes.
Yeah.
But it's all how you put it on.
Yeah.
There are many style you can do.
Another how to say, because it don't wear like this, so I would like to try. It's very fresh thing. Many people interested in the fresh things.
Yes.
Fresh clothing, new clothing, and new dress. So it's make the happiest.
Yes, but you see, in spiritual life, you use things which is very, very practical. Like the shawl, very practical.
Yeah.
You can cover yourself.
Yeah.
Very simple. The dress is very simple.
Yeah.
Everything is very simple but very beautiful. And the specialty of one of the specialty of Hare Krishna is music, singing, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, prasadam, taking prasadam, eating, singing, eating, and dancing, and thinking about life. That's what everybody likes to do. They like to eat, sing, and think about beautiful things, but nobody has time. So the Hare Krishna people, us, we have time for it.
So you do the thinking, singing, and the eating, and the thinking. So many make you the, how to say, it's a 4 day. You can do the everything in that day. No time to how to say.
No time to work.
Yes.
That's good. You should understand. We don't have so much time to work because we think work has to be service. See, we don't do work as a karma, as people do action, reaction. We work as our service. We love to do what we do. And we like to serve others. That's what we're coming here to learn how to serve others. Not how to work, now to get something and give something back. It's like a family. And nobody is like working in family. They're working outside. Inside family, father take care of mother, mother take care of children, grandmother take care of everybody. Everybody is doing service. They serve each other. It's a very wonderful idea. So you think for Chinese people this idea is very prominent? You think it's taken their heart?
You
think people in China would love that concept, that idea? When you serve.
It's don't conduct the Hare Krishna. I don't any think about the survey at others. So conduct the Hare Krishna and more think about survey the other people, and other people can serve you as well.
Well, it's a mutual exchange.
Each other.
Yes, it's each other, of course. It's like family.
Yes.
Well, very good. So you spoke very nicely on the interview, and I think we have a next guest. Our next guest. Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Victoria, right? She has not spiritual name yet. Okay, well, hook up, Mike. See, we speak with our Chinese devotees and try to see how they can relate Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, please take a seat. We're very happy that you're part of our show. And first time in Chiang Mai?
Yes.
Please tell us your name.
My English name is Vivian.
Vivian.
Yeah. My Chinese name is Yuan Yuan.
Yuan Yuan.
Yuan Yuan. Yuan Yuan.
Yan Yuan.
Yeah, it means garden in Chinese.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's the most beautiful name I ever heard in China.
Thank
because
you.
every time it's a very long. It's almost like dragon who's squeezing himself through the bamboo forest, and you're just a garden. So, garden, it's a beautiful concept because Krishna lives in a garden, and our heart is also like a garden.
Yes.
So, what makes you interesting about Krishna consciousness?
Beauty, I think.
Beauty?
Yeah, beauty.
Oh, that's a very.
I think
deep.
everything is very beautiful. The first time I get into or I get in touch with Krishna is when Goswami Maharaj went to Shenzhen and give a lecture in the city hall of Shenzhen, book city hall of Shenzhen. And I went to his lecture, and I'm attractive to his lecture, and I think he's very humorous person, and he's very powerful.
Yes.
Actually, the words, the sentence is very simple, but the truth behind that is very deep, and it let me think. And something is very similar with Chinese wisdom, Chinese ancient traditional wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, Chinese masters would struggle to search the beauty. Some of the great Chinese masters of spirituality and art dedicate themselves fully for the serving of beauty. And according to our understanding, if Krishna exists and God exists, he must be beautiful. And he also must be person. So, you finding this okay with your understanding of God being very beautiful person?
Yeah, it's not difficult for me. It's not difficult for me to understand that God is beautiful, and I love that God. Actually, the concept of God in Christian is maybe it's not so close to my heart feeling.
Yes.
I think that God may be too strict, you know. If you don't believe in me, and then you cannot be saved. So it's a little strict and harsh to the people, to his child.
It's kind of like you know, invite you for dinner for free and then give you big bill. Do you understand?
Maybe not got the point of your joke.
Well, I mean, here it is. Some Christian people say that Jesus died for you, and now you own them. Do you understand?
That for you.
So they tell, oh, Jesus died for you. Now you're kind of like, sorry, you know.
That's too sad. It's full
right.
of sadness. I'm sorry,
I like your answer. It's a beautiful answer. When some born again Christians come to me and say, do you know that Jesus Christ died for you? I said, well, it's actually very sad. Very sorry.
Yeah, like this joyful environment of
But you know, you sound like very, very intellectual girl. What's your profession?
I'm a researcher in
That's
a
what I
research institute. Yeah, and my major in university is Chinese literature. So I love Chinese culture, and I find myself deeply rooted in Chinese culture.
Of course.
So I'm nourished by that from very, very young as a child. So I'm deeply influenced by the Chinese culture. The influence is from sometimes from the books, sometimes from my parents, from the education, from parents' education, from school education. Yeah, I love that. So I choose Chinese literature as my major in university. But actually, when you do research, sometimes we'll think the society, think the literature, the society. The literature is a very beautiful way to reflect the society. Yeah, it's the.
I like what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's my understanding of literature. And you, when you do research in literature, on literature, first of all, you have to understand the society. Then you have to understand the author, the artists, how they
perceive.
Perceive.
Yeah.
And there's two aspects you have to understand.
You need to understand which language the artist chosen to reveal truth to you.
Yeah.
Because pretty much often people don't understand writer without really understanding his style or his way to reveal truth to you. Because every artist has his own individual way to show you things.
Yes.
So in literature, especially writings and books, there is a particular way with language and expression and style.
Yeah. And we, as a researcher, we always ask why he reflect the society in that way, in this way, in that way, and the reason behind that, and the feeling he wants to express in his works. So I like that, and that's my interests. And that interest is some more or less related to philosophy, to religion, to the culture behind that. So when we say culture, maybe it's very extensive concept. Culture contains religion, contains the food, contains the style you dress yourself.
Of course.
So culture is very extensive concept in my understanding. So religion, I love that, and the way, the words, the author used to express themselves, reflect the society. The way that itself is very attractive to me.
Great.
I
Well,
love that.
I'm very much impressed with you, and I'm sure you'll find many deep ideas in Indian spiritual thinking. And actually, you will see how China intrinsically connect with India.
Yeah.
Because Chinese would travel to get wisdom to India,
Yeah.
but when they would come back, they would process that wisdom, and it's become something of their own.
Yes.
See, it's just like an art. You can look at Picasso, let's say,
Yes.
and see, well, this artist very beautifully using color, but when you will draw, let's say in Chinese style, that Picasso will become something else. But the influence. So what my appreciation is about Chinese people, that they love to learn.
Yes.
They're anxious to learn.
Actually.
And I never see anywhere in the world people so much anxious to learn
Yes.
and so much anxious to understand.
Yes.
So, in spiritual concept, it says, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyati Yati Kutopi Labhyate. It's a Sanskrit sutra telling that unless you have deep desire to acquire about Krishna, you will not understand. So you have to have a desire, and that's where you associate. And but Krishna is a very beautiful boy who playing flute.
Yes.
And then sometimes in Chinese art, you also get the boy with the flute.
Yes, it's very traditional. How to say?
Concept image.
Archetypal.
Yes, archetype image.
Yes.
Yes. So that means
describe the way living in the beautiful nature. Yeah. So the boy plays the flute on the cow.
yes.
This image is how to say? Is described reflect in poems,
Yes.
in music,
Yes.
of Chinese traditional works.
So that means somehow or rather in Asia, see, if we look historically at China, because typically we know very little about Chinese archaeology and history, and it's mystery, especially the South China, because it's always been connected with India, or the Chinese travel through Tibet, Himalayas. It says actually in Kumbh Mela, the big religious festival, that there's historical records that Chinese would come from Tibetan northern side through Himalayan mountains, and they would go to worship of Ganga, and they would go to India and explore, India. They would explore ideas, exchange.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, and what you're saying, it's very promising to me. But how many people like you would you think in China? Like you're a special person because you're in research, you're in literature and art. But do you think like common people can get together, or take some time for them to reflect that what they really need is more like a spiritual qualities? Because China it's blooming on mundane side. It's expanding, it's increasing. People make money, they buy houses, they buy things, they go to the world. But it's an interesting phenomenal of culture, what happened in America. After World War II, like Goswami Maharaj, they called baby boomers. There were many, many babies was born. And these babies was born, they, in 70s and 60s, they realized they don't want to be like their parents.
Yes.
Because their parents just consuming material assets, cars,
Yeah.
big buildings,
Yes.
big things. They want to be, because they're already born with everything their
Yeah.
parents have, so they don't feel any fun or attraction. So they went to kind of like, they become hippies, and they become like artists.
Yeah.
So what about hippies in China?
Yes. Actually, what you said happened in 60 or 70 years of America. They should have some condition. That is, the material is fully, satisfied
Yes.
for these people. So the economic, when the economic developed to some extent, the phenomenon will happen again. That is the situation of Shenzhen right now. Yeah, and just as I talked about this topic yesterday and the day before yesterday, this is the third time I take part in this broadcast. Yeah, I will also take Shenzhen as example. Shenzhen is the most developed city in economy of China. It's the
Yes.
most developed part area, and the GDP of Shenzhen people is very high, and the phenomenon is again appears in Shenzhen. Of course, the people is rich enough, and the parents or themselves find another desire. That desire is for knowledge, is for wisdom, for peaceful of the mind, and this phenomenon also repeated itself in China, in Shenzhen. And I think I have the belief in such kind of phenomenon will happen more and more in different cities of China.
Right, so Shenzhen is kind of starting point.
Course, just as I said, Shenzhen people maybe is the richest of whole China.
Not
ever.
like Beijing or Shanghai.
Beijing is more how to say have the style
Tradition.
of
Capital.
it's capital. Yeah, it's the
Conservative
center of
capital.
politics.
Yes.
And Shanghai maybe is
Business,
is
education.
Shanghai people, of course, they are very rich and they have very high material level. But Shenzhen is a little different. Is that Shenzhen is the it's very young. It's a very young city. It is established 30 or 2 years ago. When it was established, its identity is the special economic zone. So in Shenzhen, the marketing economy, the marketing system is very healthy. So people here just want to try their best to earn the living.
There's electric taxis in Shenzhen. Taxis run by electric. So it's quite very modern Chinese city.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
beautiful, very architecturally savvy.
And it's very free for people to achieve the fulfillment. They don't have so much limits, not as in Beijing or in Shanghai. So there are so many limits for modern China. But Shenzhen is just an experiment for China to going forward to the modern
Still, what about
modern
hippies?
country.
Is there any Chinese hippies nowadays?
Maybe Chinese people is not so hippies as American. There's another style. Chinese people maybe more close to nature, and they enjoy themselves. They will repeat the aristocrat style life to taste the tea and taste the smell.
They're Chinese hippies.
Yes, Chinese hippies. Yeah, maybe they don't live
Chinese
together.
hippies is different than American hippies.
Yes.
Because they're not poor. They just love nature and art and beauty.
Yeah.
So which makes them very high level hippies.
So they're very easy to lead to the spiritual
Right.
consciousness. Yeah. as Gaopers said yesterday, there's so many people working in Shenzhen cities wearing the beads. Stands for the religious identity or consciousness on the rifles. Yeah, I observed such kind of phenomenon around my friends' circles.
Well, I mean, let's go back to literature. Have you had the chance to read any books about Krishna, like Bhagavad Gita or Krishna life stories?
Actually, Lina Maki Wasula, give me or introduce me a book written by Goswami Maharaj. Is the search for Krishna. But
Search for Sri Krishna.
The search for
Sri Krishna. It's Krishna.
Krishna.
Sri Krishna. Let's
Sri
say.
Krishna. Yeah. Sri Krishna. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I read maybe the first part of that, and actually I found myself learn more. Maybe it's from the video given by Goswami Maharaj on the YouTube network. Yeah, I watched many of his video talks. Yeah, I love that. I think it's more vividly, it's more vivid than words on books.
Yes, and because it's very personal.
Yeah, and give out the key concepts of Sri Krishna. So every talk maybe is 7 minutes, several minutes, but every talk, every several minutes can give you a very important concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed with your education, depth of your thinking, and your vision for, China, and your concept of Chinese hippies are really, really special and unique. Do you think sometimes we would have some modern Chinese writers or movie directors or people who can take the wisdom parts into the new literature of China, into the new art?
Movie director.
Well, maybe book writers, like people, or like bloggers. Like, would you feel like cool to write some stories about, Indian thoughts or philosophy? You think that would be interesting to people in the internet? Like, I'll give you a very simple example. Like, I have a blog. I'm writing things too.
Blog.
And in Russia, many people have blogs, many bloggers. And, the different, everywhere in the world, the women write about their things. There's like women literature, modern, on the internet. There are political bloggers, social bloggers, spiritual. Do you think this spiritual blogging is it taking place in China now, in the internet?
Spiritual.
Yeah, there's people write things about spirituality. The people in China these days expressing their spiritual, inner concerns, or they're more like to practice or believe in their own world.
The publication in China or maybe in the world, maybe it's not so optimistic. People, most people, or the popularity were more likely be attractive to the network, to something very instant, to something very, something very superficial, just like the scene compete, something like that. So we can see that the author you said is really exists. It actually exists, and there's a very famous poems, was very very popular around the Chinese people, and this poem was written by an author living in Tibet, and the poems was used in a very famous film director. His name is Feng Xiaogang. Feng Xiaogang, and he's famous for his New Year films, you know. So it's very popular for Chinese people. And I remember the first two syllables, first two lines of these poems is that you see where you cannot see, I'm here. You remind or not remind, I'm here. You know what you not know, you don't know, I still love you. Something like that. So I think
that sounds like very much Krishna.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah,
there's many saying like this.
It's very popular, especially within these popular films.
So Krishna is coming from Tibet to the movie director.
Maybe, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a way you can say.
What about Life of Pi? Have you watched this movie?
Life of Pi is a Chinese movie. Oh, yes. Li An, yeah, it's a Chinese director, but it's from Taiwan, and he's living in America. Yeah, I love Li An very much, and that film.
Have you watched that film?
Yeah, of course.
What's your impression?
That film really profound. Actually, you can understand that film from different levels. On the first level, it's very beautiful scenery in the film. So for many children, just for children, you can find fun. You can have fun from this for watching this movie. And then second level, maybe as a normal adult, you see the film, you will think about religion. And the third level, I think, the third level is the, is Li An, the director himself's understanding of religion, himself's, perspectives of religion.
His own realizations. But have you noticed that there is a part about Krishna in that film?
Yeah, maybe on the first.
Very first, when this Krishna story where he opens the mouth, and it's a very charming, very beautiful story.
Yeah.
For Chinese person, what does scene mean? What, just a cultural or some?
I have to say
meaning?
that maybe Krishna consciousness is not so popular for Chinese people right now at present.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I watched this film maybe 2 years ago. So at that time, I cannot understand the.
Like you did not.
But
connect.
I have some memory when you mentioned that. I know that's very beautiful, but I can understand it totally.
So it affects you on a very subtle level. Do you understand? Sometimes direct affection, sometimes like indirect affection, but very subtle, very thin. Just like an aroma, you know, of the flower. Sometimes you feel it afterwards, not immediately.
Yes.
Well, I mean, so you think the director has a very profound spiritual realization.
Yes.
And do you think like common people who's watching this film in China, they are sharing like?
I think they are.
It gives a lot of movement to them.
Yeah, I think they're more or less moved, but I think they need very concrete leading to the spiritual consciousness. Concrete.
I understand.
Yeah. So maybe they have very, sensitive feeling or sensitive or emotion for religion. They were moved by the movie, but maybe they don't know the religion very clearly.
You know, I met some Chinese artist intellectual who told me, you know, we pretty much finished with religion in China. Like we went to our past, we understand religion is good, but now we are better than religion. He's a very proud man, but don't you think like some people have very superficial thing, oh, religion is something very like low class?
I still think that we shouldn't be so strict to people. Anyone, if any person, if he or she can feel beauty, but if he or she go after happiness or peaceful, then I think he or she can be lead to the way of spiritual consciousness. But we should have a proper way. The way make he or she feel relaxed, feel enjoyable, and give their environment. So I think maybe the way is important, how we give the environment.
So I think what you said is very important because, see, for most people, religion has very primitive, very superficial feeling. And actually, most people abuse and accuse religion in wars, conflict. Because if you look at the history, the most people who screwed up religion is religious people themselves. They would abuse this for some material purpose or power play. So what I like about China, many great masters, they would think rather about spirituality than religion. Because religion is external form. It may have spiritual substance, may not have spiritual substance. But what you've said about beauty, to me, is very important because that's one of the most moving principle of spirituality. And the perception. That's also, I think, very important, what you've said about perception, how to perceive things. And you know, in Krishna consciousness, it normally comes with association. See, consciousness has a unique way to carry the aroma. Like consciousness come from consciousness. It does not always come from mind to mind. It can come from heart to heart. And I was very impressed that certain things give you deep impressions, like in Goswami Maharaj's talks, and you sense something divine.
I remember there is a video. Its name is "How to Control the Absolute," and the answer he gave is the only way you can control the absolute, even the Krishna itself, is the love and the devotion. I think this sentence moved me very deeply. I think that's the key point. That's the core of Krishna consciousness. It's love and the devotion. And I agree with you and with him in this
thank
way.
you. Thank you. We just started talking. You don't have to fully agree with me, but what we both agree, we're all touched by beauty and perception. I like about that. And I really love what you've said about literature. Because, see, without literature, really, we can't understand the world. At a certain point, I had one of my friends. He's a very famous Russian artist. So he came to one of my art projects and he said, well, you know, and he's like a famous artist. And, you know, big famous artists, big cheaters. Because they're famous. And sometimes they don't even paint themselves anymore. They have other painters to paint for them and they just sign their name. But, you know, they direct. So he said, well, actually, really, all remains from the world is art. Because we look this Chiang Mai by ancient temples, ancient architecture, some designs. Those people already die a long time. We don't really know whether they're good or bad. You understand? When you go to Beijing, you see some beautiful art of Empire Palace. You don't really know the empire, but you know the palace is there. The Chinese art is there. So he said, art, that's what remain. And he told very important things like the politicians, they may come and go, change. The good times or bad times come and go. But what remains is what the pieces of art and beauty, what people create. But Goswami Maharaj said more important thing, which I like even more. He said, who really, the more important than art itself is those who really can recognize art. See, that's the point you and I were talking about, because to be able to recognize identified spirituality, this is the most important part. Because Krishna consciousness is for everyone. But not everyone can recognize. Just like you go to beautiful art, you can say, well, there's art for everyone. But people have no, they have no ability to draw, to understand, to taste, to feel it. So it's also about ourselves, how we can tune ourselves for the Krishna consciousness, how we can make ourselves proper receiver. That's what our teacher used to tell us. He tell, become a proper receiver, and then you will understand.
Yes.
So it all comes in association, and thanks very much for your association. I think you spoke very substantial things, very important things. I'm very shy because I'm thinking with such a intellectual person, I have to keep on a track.
Okay.
And I think what you've said was very important, so we thank you very much. So one thing I want to ask you, what is your most fresh experience with connecting with devotees? What do you like about them?
I love them. I like them, and it's really from heart. Maybe I don't know the exact personality. Everyone,
Yes.
I don't know the personality, but I love them, the way they act, the way they behave. I love the environment, the very joyful environment. I love the sing, the dance, and all of the atmosphere is very relaxed and very enjoyable and full of happiness. And I think it can make more and more people to feel the same thing. And I think this is the first step for people to go into the deeper spiritual consciousness. So behave ourselves at first, always the most important thing to give help to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, we're very fortunate that you tonight on our show. I'm sure many people from all over the world hear something, what you've shared with us, and oh, from Italy. Italy is also a very beautiful place. It's saturated with art and beauty. Italians, they love to eat as well. Oh,
I love Italy.
oh, of course. So we want to start chanting. Is that okay? Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna